catches your eye on there, Joe?
I'll let you know about it.
Just let us know, yeah. We'll just keep checking through stuff. Brilliant.
Good man. There we go.
Welcome to the Monday Night Social on Boro Fan TV at the Longlands Club. I'm James Hutchinson, and joining me tonight is Joe. Welcome to the show, mate. You alright?
Good.
We're going to look back this week on the trips to Bramall Lane and Ewood Park as Boro experienced contrasting results and performances with different formations, but each game containing a red card. We've got 14 games to go, Boro fans. Get in touch with us on the show tonight. Let us know where you see the season heading. Is it going to be a top 2 finish? Is that still attainable? Or do you think we're going to be playoffs? Or do you think we might even miss out on the playoffs? We're also going to look ahead to the game at the weekend, the return of the Max. Steve McClaren and Queen's Park Rangers visit the Riverside. And in the week where the nation arguably lost its best ever goalkeeper, greatest ever goalkeeper in Gordon Banks, get in touch with us. Let us know who's been the best ever goalkeeper you've seen for the Boro. I'm sure it'll provoke a lot of debate and argument and views, but get in touch, let us know. As always, Monday Night Social, it's your show. Get in touch with myself and Joe and let us know what you think. Right, Joe, I'm afraid, first of all, it's a bit of pain before pleasure, and we're going to look back at the game at Bramall Lane last Wednesday night.
Yep.
First half was largely uneventful. However, things started to take a bit of a turn for the worse when Aidan Flint went off injured.
Yeah.
How big a blow was it to lose him?
Big a blow, because I think he's been one of our best key centre-backs all season. Obviously, don't get me wrong, but obviously losing him is a big blow. Don't get me wrong, because judging by past results, we've already got enough defensive problems as it is at the moment regarding injuries and suspensions. But Flint, obviously, it's going to be a massive blow. Obviously, I think from by the looks of it, he's going to be out for at least a month or so. By the sounds of it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, obviously, we lost Danny Bart. He went back to Wolves and then he was sold on to Stoke. And then during that game, we'll touch on it a bit, Danny Ayala got himself sent off. But going back to the game on Wednesday at Bramall Lane, second half just saw a big change in the momentum that Sheffield United, they brought in Gary Medina at half-time, and they upped their game in the second half, where we didn't seem to offer a great deal throughout the game.
No.
Do you think it wasn't really much of a surprise when they took the lead, was it, Joe?
No, it's from a set piece as well. It's kind of got mentioned, because I watched it on Sky, and it's not nice to concede from a set piece at all, you know, particularly from their vantage point. You know, a defender like Richard Steeman just comes up free, right in the middle, and he slots it in. Obviously, Randolph no chance, so it was a big blow to concede that goal in that sort of manner. But either way, it's one of those. We just got to get on with it. And then obviously there was Danny Ayala as well, to sending off, which from where I looked at it, it was in a way a sending off. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I
don't think there was any dispute really over it. I mean, it was 2 yellow cards, and he didn't really need to make that challenge for the second one, did he? When you're already on a yellow, bit of a needless one. In terms of going back to that goal, Tony Pulis had a bit of a grumble after the game about the free kick that led to it, the award of it, and then he also thought Steeman committed a foul. What did you think about that, Joe?
It's kind of works 2 ways really, because I think from where I watched it on Sky, you know, I didn't think there was a foul in there from their goal perspective, but the foul was kind of questionable, you know. Like I say, I think Shotton didn't need to go in that much on the play in general. But back at the end of the day, though, it was a key game that we lost. Yeah. So we just got to move on to the next. Yeah,
that's a fair point. I mean, and I think it's maybe one of those things in terms of the goal. I think you sometimes get decisions like that when you're at home and when you're away from home, that a good crowd backing them, you'll maybe get those decisions, and the referee might be tempted not to blow up for a foul, and I think that maybe went in their favour. Talking about injuries, I think it's a time of the season where lots of teams get injuries and suspensions. LUFC, Dave, thanks for watching again, mate. He's also mentioned there about Kemar Roof. Now, I wasn't aware that he's out for the season. I did see that he was out of their game at the weekend, but a lot of teams are going to experience injuries and stuff like that now, aren't they?
Yeah, it is. You know, like I say, it's that crucial point in the season where you need your key players, and obviously you just mentioned there Kemar Roof. It's going to be a big blow for obviously for Leeds, but they got Bamford anyway, so. Yeah.
It happens to all teams,
6 and 2 frees, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, like we said there, apart from British Somberlong had a chance when we went 1-0 down when he came on, we didn't create a great deal, and I think we really got what we deserved. Now, I remember a couple of weeks ago, me and you were on here on the Monday Night Social, and we were talking about those 3 games, West Brom, Leeds, Sheffield United. And we thought after that run of fixtures we'd have a better idea where we were looking at. Would we be still looking at top 2, or would we be looking at maybe staying in the top 6? After those 3 games, I know we've had the game yesterday, but after those 3 games, after Sheffield United on Wednesday, where were you thinking we were heading for, Joe?
It's going to be controversial amongst the Boro fans, but I think playoffs is where we're going to be end up at the end of the season, because I think after the Sheffield United result, in my opinion, the top 2, I think, is just out of our reach. I think, despite, we know we've got a game in hand, but from my point of view, I consider our chances of getting to the top 2 gone after the Sheffield United game. Yeah,
I think that's a fair point, because I think what separates us from maybe the teams that are up near the top 2 is that they've been stringing wins together. We don't seem to be able to do that. We can get maybe 1 or 2 wins on the belt, and then it's a draw or a defeat. We don't seem to be able to put a run together like, say, Norwich have done, Leeds have done. We haven't been able to go on a run like that, and I think that's what separates the teams in the top 2. And also I think goal scoring's an issue for us as well, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, Leeds at the start of the season, they were scoring goals for fun. Like I think it was like 4-0 one game and then 6-0 the following game. And then you go to Norwich, you go to they've been scoring goals for fun and they're just winning week in and week out. But they had that slip up at Preston this week. So it's an even playing field at the top again, but like I said, I don't think we're going to be anywhere concerned at the top 2 for the time being this season.
What I will say, and I think I tend to agree with you, I think we probably will end up in the playoffs, but I think this year, Joe, I think the playoffs for me won't hold the same sort of fees that maybe it did last year, because I think we've played, the teams that are in the top 7, we've played 10 fixtures against them this season. We've only lost 2 games, that's Norwich away and then the Sheffield United game last Wednesday. And I haven't really seen anybody in that top 7 that makes me think they're far and away. Like last year you had Wolves. I think Fulham were a great footballing team last year, which was something different to other teams in the top 6 had to offer. I honestly don't think if we are in the playoffs there's a great deal to hold fees, and I think teams will say the same about us, but I think the teams that will be in the playoffs will be much of a muchness. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, people said we should be up there from the start of the season, but based on the football we played, we just never lived up to that expectation at all. Obviously, judging by the point that we had, I think Leeds, deserve it this season more than anyone else. They've been out of there now for 15 years, and I think it's their time to go back up. No disrespect for the Boro fans who hate Leeds even
that
more.
might be controversial with Boro fans saying that, Joe.
Controversial, but like I say, it's just my opinion. I think just on the way they played in general, I think Leeds probably deserve it. I think the other spot is, I think it's going to be between Norwich and Sheffield United, really. I think for the other spot. And obviously we'll just have to settle for the playoffs. Well, do it the hard way again.
It's the only way Boro know how to do it, isn't it? But I think, like you say, there's a lot of football left. 14 games to go for most teams, and a lot of twists and turns. And I think there could be still a few surprises in there in terms of teams that maybe come up into the top 6 that aren't there at the moment. We'll wait and see. There's a lot of football to be played, isn't there?
No doubt.
So as we said at the top of the show, we said about Gordon Banks passing away last week, World Cup winning goalkeeper from 1966. In terms of the Boro, who's been the best goalkeeper you've ever seen play for the Boro, Joe?
100% without a doubt, Mark Schwarzer.
Mark Schwarzer, I don't think it's a bad shout, and I think a lot of people will say that. What for you made him stand out, Joe?
Because obviously when I started following the Boro properly about 1997, he was their main goalkeeper, and that's he's been there for the last 10 or so years that I've been following the Boro since I first started following them. So Mark Schwarzer sticks out in my mind as probably the best Boro goalkeeper out there.
How about you, James?
Rod Guzan.
He was a legend. I mean, that takes some talent to get nutmegged 3 times in one game. That as a goalkeeper, that's fantastic. Schwarzer, I think Schwarzer would be for a lot of people. I think probably because he did it at the top level. It was Premier League years. I mean, I'm a bit older than you lads. I always go back to Stephen Pears. He was a great goalkeeper for Boro in the 80s and early 90s. He was very consistent, wasn't flashy. He was just a really good goalkeeper. But like I say, I think maybe in terms of the level that they played at, Schwarzer has it over him because he did it in the Premier League, didn't he, and in European games as well. But they were 2 great goalkeepers. Let us know, Boro fans, get involved there. Any goalkeepers apart from Pearsy, Schwarzer that you think, they were top goalkeepers for the Boro? Or if you think one of those 2 lads, let us know who you think was the best. I mean,
LUSC Dave saying Darren Randolph.
He's going somewhere. I think he'd need to put the seasons in, but in the time that he's been at the Boro, he's won us a lot of points, hasn't he, Joe?
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, we'll talk about yesterday's game now. We lost at Sheffield United. We lost Aidan Flint to injury. Danny Ayala was sent off. It was a testing fixture anyway before all of that. Yeah. And then before the game, I think Tony Pulis sprung a bit of surprise on everybody by the lineup that he went with.
Yeah, he went 3-5-2, didn't he?
Howson and Saville as wing backs. Ashley Fletcher, that just came in total left field, that he was brought back into the starting lineup.
It was.
And I think it's got to be said, all three of them contributed in a massive way to that result yesterday, didn't they?
They did, yeah, no. First half, it was like a dream, wasn't it? You know, particularly with Fletcher, he created a lot of chances. Obviously, he helped set up the goal for Asomba Longer. And then going back to the lineup, surprising, you know, 3-5-2, and that's what Tony Pulis doesn't go for unless he goes in panic mode. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, with the centre backs, you know, with Flint injured, Ayala suspended. My first initial thought was that McNair's going to get slotted in, but no, he went with Howson and Friend as wing backs, and it just worked. First half, it just worked.
I thought Howson was really influential in the game, more so than he probably is when he's been playing in midfield this season. He got up and down that right side, and I think he got tested a little bit second half when they brought the young lad on who tested him a little bit there, but he got really involved in the game, and he had a really positive influence on that performance yesterday. I was really impressed with Johnny Howson.
Yeah.
Saville, I think, just gets better by the week, doesn't he? He's looking like a Boro player now. It's almost like he's settled here at the club.
Yeah.
And again, he had another solid performance. And Fletcher, what did you make of Fletcher's performance, Joe?
First half, he did well. Like I said, he created the chances, created the goal. He had a couple of chances, but a couple of chances he should have really been burying those, you know what I mean? Obviously, you know, the shot that led up to Asomba Longer's goal, people say it was going to go in anyway, and Asomba Longer made sure. But like I said, Fletcher surprised me on Sunday.
Yeah. I think, Saul Starling saying we should start Ashley Fletcher next week against QPR. I mean, what I think he offers is, it's maybe not so much of a goal threat as such, because I think his confidence is a little bit short in terms because of the lack of game time he's had. But he certainly takes up good places, good areas on the pitch, and his running obviously seems to unsettle other teams. I just think he's very intelligent. He's an intelligent footballer. Striking, I think, I'm not sure if he's going to get you many goals, but I think he offers something for the midfield away, Matt, as well, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, definitely. Another player stood out for me really throughout that game was John Obi Mikel.
Yeah, he's a class act, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's doing really well. I mean, he always looks as though he's got plenty of time when he's got the ball. Doesn't look flustered or anything.
Yeah.
Looks a really good player, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a workhorse.
Yeah.
Like him, I think him and Wing generally central midfield pairing. I think it's been immense this season.
Yeah.
So, well, the last couple of games they've been playing. I think Wing also had a decent game. You know, in the second half, he had that shot that hit the bar, and then obviously he was influential throughout the game in the second half. But I think, you know, going back to the first half again, I think it was a sending off. Don't get me wrong, you know, with Derek Williams.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, Wing Fletcher and Mikel, they definitely surprised me on Sunday.
I thought we started positively, which sometimes a lot of Boro fans have accused us of not doing this season. We started on the front foot, we got after Blackburn. I think the only criticism of that first half performance, Joe, was that there wasn't enough goals. One goal, they deserved maybe more than one goal from that performance.
Yeah, we should have really killed the game off in the second half, because I think obviously Fletcher had one more chance, and then Asomba Longer was through on goal twice when he didn't convert, and obviously Wing hit the bar early in the second half. And then I think in the last 10 minutes or so, that Blackburn had the only couple of decent chances of the game. Obviously, Danny Graham blazing one over the bar, and then Bradley Dack had a header which was brilliantly saved by Darren Randolph.
Yeah,
by the way.
Was a great save. Yeah.
I think in the last 10 minutes we've invited him in as usual again.
That's the danger, isn't it? When you're only one goal up, it doesn't matter how much you've dominated the game or how many chances you've had. I mean, was it 26, 27 shots on goal yesterday? If you're still only 1-0 up in the last 10 minutes away from home, you're going to come under some sort of pressure, and we did, like you say. I mean, like you mentioned there about the sending off. Any arguments for you? You thought it was a red card? I mean, I know they said it was denying a goal-scoring opportunity. With Ashley Fletcher burying on goal, is that really a goal-scoring opportunity?
I think it is, you know.
I'm only joking, Ashley, honestly, mate. But
it was a sending off. Even Bill Leslie and Don Goodman said on Sky Sports it was a sending off. It's literally he was through on goal, and then Williams obviously decked him.
He didn't get the ball, did he? He didn't make any contact with the ball. It was a poor challenge.
No, he just grudged over Fletcher's ankles.
Yeah. And like you say, that save from Darren Randolph, and we were talking about goalkeepers earlier on, he's been fantastic this season. He's done that so many times, and when he had a really quiet game, he didn't have a great deal to do, but he can pull off a save like that in the last 10 minutes. It's turned 1 point into 3, didn't it?
Yeah, it definitely did. Because we knew the threat that Graham and Dak were going to pose before the start of the game on paper. But fair enough, the three-man defence, the wing-backs, and particularly Randolph kept them both at bay on Sunday.
Yeah, and it was a big win after that Sheffield United performance, and I think more so how the game unfolded. I think if we'd have ended up there with only getting 1 point yesterday, it'd have felt almost like another defeat, wouldn't it, if we'd have only got 1 point from that. And instead you're looking up again instead of looking behind. Now you're thinking, right, 7 points from the top two. I think Sheffield United are second now. We've got a game in hand on them. Leeds are third, who've played same games as now. But 7 points, 14 games to go. I know what we've just been saying about we think it's probably going to be playoffs, but if we go on a run, that's not insurmountable, that 7 point gap, is it?
No, it should be reachable. If we stay in the playoffs, it's suitable enough. If we don't reach the playoffs, there's a good chance Pulis might walk at the end of the season, possibly.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, on the ball, City Dom is obviously still a happy fan, being a Norwich supporter. He's saying there about Darren Randolph, great save the keeper made yesterday, and it was. He's done that so many times. And I think when they do the team of the division at the end of the season, when it's like the Player of the Year awards, I don't think Darren Randolph will be far off being the goalkeeper for the championship.
Oh, definitely. If he's not there, if he's not the goalkeeper in the team of the year, I don't know what.
Yeah, he's very consistent, isn't he? Yeah. Top keeper.
Another point to bring out as well is concerning George Friend, who went off on Sunday.
Yeah. Now I know people are getting in touch about what they're going to do going forwards on Saturday with regards to what the formation's going to be, but in all likelihood I think George was going for a scan today, wasn't he, on a potential hamstring injury, just as Aidan Flint did. If he's out on Saturday, Joe, what would you do, and what sort of lineup would you pick on Saturday against QPR?
If Friend's out, which from what I've heard from Sky Sports is a slight muscle injury, from what I've been told, I don't know whether it's hamstring or not. If he's out on Saturday against QPR, it opens the door for at least possibly Van der Parra or Tavernier, probably just to play a wing back for Saturday. Right,
you not think he'll maybe stick with Saville and Howson again as the wing backs and maybe just bring Ayala in as a third centre half, so you'll go Ayala, Fry and Shotton?
Ayala, Fry, Shotton's the three centre backs, and then I'll probably say right wing back would be Howson, and left wing back I'll probably say Tavernier.
Tavernier, what a big shout that. I mean, obviously he's not had much game time, he's not been on the bench lately, he was yesterday, but he hasn't. Let us know, Boro fans, do you think that's a decent shout from Joe? Do you think he might go Tavernier left wing back on Saturday? I think he'll might stick with Saville again.
Probably,
do you think do you think he might just go with 4 at the back? You never know, because I know Tony Pulis has said how I've set up at Blackburn isn't necessarily how I'll set up against QPR at home.
Yeah, and also quite possibly a big gamble, you could put in Van der Parra.
Yeah, he could again. He surprised a lot of people yesterday by playing Fletcher up front when nobody really saw that coming. Owen Lyons, thanks for watching, Owen. He said there Saville and Howson didn't look out of place at wing backs. I think you'd be tempted to stick with that because it was a good performance. It offered us a lot yesterday going forward as well as defensively. And I think he may stick with that at the weekend. So we'll see about that. But I think, Ayala will come in for Friend. I think it's a like-for-like swap. The worry is now, obviously, we're starting to come to that stage of the season where you get injuries, you get suspensions, and it's looking all of a sudden from being an area of strength, our defence, to one where we're a little bit short of numbers on the ground. If people are getting injuries which are going to put them out for a month, it's going to be quite testing, isn't it, for not only the players but for Tony Pulis?
It's definitely, like I said, considering the injuries, like I said, Flint obviously going to be out for close to like a few weeks, etc. in a month. It's going to be crucial whichever team Tony plays, whichever formation he plays. Yeah.
One other fixture at the weekend, which originally we thought we may be playing, we might have been playing Man City down here in the FA Cup 5th round, but obviously that replay performance down at Newport put pay to that. Bradley Jarrett, thanks for watching, Newport fan. Are you glad that we lost to Man City at the weekend? Well, no, personally, Bradley, I wasn't. I was wanting you to win. I enjoyed that game on Saturday. I thought you did very well. Stuck in the game for 85, 88 minutes, I think it was, and they played very well. I mean, Man City again put out a really strong team in that game.
Yeah, I thought Newport had a strong performance considering the defeat this weekend. So fair credit to Newport. You know.
Yeah.
Dom saying, "What have you done to JT tonight?" He's under the weather, unfortunately, Dom.
Yeah, he was over celebrating that win at Blackburn yesterday, so he's not with us tonight. Now, get well soon, mate. He's not very well, but I think he's hopefully back for us at the weekend for the QPR game. We'll see him then. Trevor Wilkinson just mentioned there about the strike by Lewis Wing.
Yeah.
Lewis Wing, I mean, he's just been a complete revelation. I think the worry for me now is he's coming to more and more people's attention, Joe, and especially games that are on TV like that yesterday. And I think people might be testing us a little bit in the summer, possibly with an offer for him. And I think he's got the potential to be an absolutely top player. And I think John Obi McKell mentioned it last week in an interview where he said he's been amazed by what a good player is. And again, he said he's going to be a top player, that lad. And he's only been at the club for a month and he's seen something already in matches and training. He is a real prospect, isn't he?
Yeah, Lewis Wing, I got to say, I said it 1,000 times to every Boro fan that I see. You know, he's the Jamie Vardy story of Boro, basically. Someone who came up from non-league, who was playing for Shildon, who was working for a shower company, I believe it was.
Yeah. Obviously,
to where he is now, and getting high praise from the top international player who's played in the Premier League. It's got to be high praise, and for like I say, there's loads of clubs that are going to be coming in the summer, like you said. I mean, come the end of the season, it might be hard to keep hold of him. Yeah,
I think you're right there, mate. Yeah. A lot of people, Harry Emerson, thanks for watching, Harry. Just also saying, keep the same team on Saturday except Ayala for Friend. That's our first clean sheet. Good start there, Solskjaer. And our first clean sheet of 2019 in the absence of Aidan Flint. I think one or two people were mentioning picking up yesterday while the game was going on. Without Flint and Ayala, the distribution from the back was a lot better. And the ball was... We kept possession of the ball a lot better. Now, I don't know whether part of that was down to Blackburn looked a bit lacklustre. I was disappointed in their performance. They were quite poor, but was that down to how well the Boro played, Joe?
I think, like I said, Blackburn were a bit of a slow slump of form, obviously. You know, they lost their last 3 games prior to us.
Yeah.
Obviously, we just came in and piled on the pain, basically.
Yeah, that's it. And looking ahead to the weekend, we play Queen's Park Rangers, who, like Blackburn, are on a bad run of form in the league. I think they've lost the last 5 league games.
Yeah, sit 18th in the Championship.
God, yeah. Well, we've had this before, haven't we? We've mentioned this before. This has happened, and we know what happens next. But I know they play West Brom tomorrow night. They've got them in a league game. So ideally, we want them to take some points off West Brom tomorrow.
Yeah.
But would you stick with Fletcher and Assombalonga up top on Saturday? Would you go with those two?
I'd say so, because obviously, don't get me wrong, I think Hugill to me is like an anvil. I mean, he never moves, never jumps up for the last couple of games. I think Fletcher could ideally be okay, you know, but personally I prefer if someone like Van der Power just to help along with Assombalonga, or even, like I say, if you move George Saville into that number 10 role, he fits in well with Assombalonga.
Yeah, I mean, that's a decent shout. Let us know, Boro fans. I mean, I don't know if Tony Pulis will change too much from what he saw yesterday. There's obviously something with Van der Power. He came here now at the beginning of the transfer window and he's not featured that much. Why do you think that is, Joe? He's not featured that much for the Boro?
People say, you know, he's not match fit. From obviously, he's not played in the last few months when he was at Huddersfield, but I don't know. It's one of those where I mean, is he 100% match fit? Is he not? We just don't know. But personally, I would like to see him get a fair decent amount of minutes under his belt. I mean, he's only here until the end of the season, so just get him out there. Just get him out there, that's all I can say.
And like I say, I think this time last year was when Rudy Gusted was our centre forward, got himself injured, and that led to the introduction of Patrick Bamford back into the team, and that sort of transformed our season along with the form of Adama Traore.
Yeah.
In a similar sort of way, do you think maybe the issues that we had yesterday with lots of defenders missing has maybe led to, by accident, Tony Pulis maybe stumbling on a formation now, which he might use for the rest of the season and might lead us possibly to the playoffs or even top 2 finish? Do you think that could happen this year?
I mean, it could work if we get a good run now between now and after the Rotherham game in May. I'd say the 3-5-2 formation obviously could work and us sticking where we are in the playoffs. Obviously, top 2 I think for me is out of reach, but as long as we stay in the playoffs, anything could happen, basically.
Yeah. Jason King, decent point here. Jason King, Marin. If we want to make the top 2, the only way is to play with Tavernier on the left, Van La Parra on the right, and go with 2 up top. That would be a massive threat. It's a blessing in disguise that we're missing these defenders. What do you think about that? You reckon? I can't see Tony Pulis going with 2 out-and-out wingers like that, and especially 2 lads that have hardly featured. I don't think he's going to drop them in all of a sudden now to start playing in games where there's like 14 matches to go.
Yeah.
What do you reckon about that, mate? Do you think he will do that, or?
Depends. Like I said, it's Tony Pulis' team at the end of the day. It's what he wants to pick, which formation he wants to pick. We'll see how it goes, you know. Saturday, obviously QPR, they're a bit of an unpredictable team. We found that out the hard way back in December, and obviously they beat us 2-1 down Loftus Road. Yeah, I mean, I think at that time they were at a good run of form, weren't they? And this is the thing now, I think now we've played most of the teams in the top 7, we've only got 2 more games left against teams in the top 7 at the moment. We've got Bristol City at home, Norwich City at home, 4 games against teams in the bottom 5, thanks for that, Harry. But the chance is there for Boro to go on a run. We've just been talking before we came on here tonight saying about the next 4 games are winnable games on paper. Yeah, they are, yeah.
They've got QPR at home, 3 of the 4 at home, QPR at home, Brentford at home, Preston at home, with Wigan away. Winnable on paper, but that doesn't count for much in the Championship, does it, Joe?
It doesn't. It's an unpredictable league.
Yeah.
Every football expert in the world would say that the Championship is an unpredictable league, and we never know what's going to come. Unfortunately for us, we just can't judge a football match based on paper.
No, that's right. And like you said there, QPR, they've lost the last 5 league games, got knocked out the FA Cup by Watford on Friday night. They did beat us in December, and they're in the middle of a run of games. They've got West Brom tomorrow night, us on Saturday, Leeds next week. It's a tough run of fixtures for them, but they've got some players that can cause some damage as well, haven't they?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Like I say, I know Luke Freeman was a former Boro target.
Yeah.
He can feature. They've got a couple of strikers on loan, like Naki Wells and Tom Ahmed, as mentioned as well.
Yeah.
And then Matt Smith, who's going to be a threat in the air, should he play. And then
that's it. I mean, Naki Wells is proven at this level in the Championship. He scored a lot of goals down the seasons for clubs in this league. Matt Smith is almost like their version of Jordan Hugel, isn't he? The big battering ram up front, and again he'll cause a lot of damage in the penalty area if he gets any opportunities at the weekend. It's going to be a tough game, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like I call every power strikers, I just call them anvils, basically.
But yeah, it's going to be a tough one. So we've reached that stage of the show, mate. Need a prediction for you for the weekend. QPR, just the one game this week. What we're going to do? No midweek game this week. Just the one game at the weekend.
I've just got that lying basically midweek. Plus I've got a Liverpool trip to look forward to for the Thursday and the Friday. Coming back to the game with QPR, the Riverside Saturday. Obviously, we know Steve McClaren returning to the Riverside. In my opinion, is the best Boro manager Boro ever had, in my own opinion. But I think prediction Saturday, I'm going to go 2-0 Boro. 2-0
Boro. James, what you good? 2-0. 2-0. I'm going to make it a full house. I'm going to go 2-1 Boro. I fancy us to win, but I think it'll be a close game, 2-1.
AJT's back on. Yep. Good to see you, AJ. Hope you get well soon, bud.
No worries, mate. And Jacob, good point, Jacob Ross. Considering we played so well without Ayala and Flint, probably our 2 most influential centre-halves, would you keep the team that beat Blackburn or bring in, well, I don't think Flint will be back, so I think he's still injured, but Ayala, I think Ayala will come back, won't he?
Yeah, Ayala's back for Saturday, I think.
Yeah, it was just a 1-match ban, so I definitely think he'll be there.
Yeah, I probably won't expect Flint back until at least about end of March, April time, I think.
Yeah, because he's already had 1 hamstring injury this season, hasn't he? So it obviously doesn't look too good that he's done that again. Forget 5 at the back, Jason King, Marin. If we want to get promoted, no chance in playoffs if we can't score enough goals.
Yeah.
I take that point on board. I mean, I think that's what maybe cost us a little bit last season against Aston Villa in the 2 semi-finals, that we didn't really look much of a goal threat. But as I say, I don't know if the quality of teams are in the playoffs this year that were there last season. I think it's very, very even this year. So we'll wait and see. Yeah.
AJT, give me a Palmo and I'll be sorted there. Cameraman James, you could better sort AJ out with the Palmo, bud.
That might have been your problem and your downfall in the first place, mate. Okay, just need to lay off then. So yeah, and Dom, the Norwich fan, Timo Pukki party at the Riverside coming soon. We'll see about that. I'm looking forward to Norwich coming here. Yeah, they're in good form. They've done well this season. But I'm looking forward to them coming here. I think that'll suit us, that match, and I fancy us, to be honest. But that's a little bit off in the distance. We'll see about that nearer the time.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us on the show tonight, Joe.
Pleasure, man.
Enjoyed you being here. Thanks, James, cameraman, for all your work as usual. Thanks everybody out there for watching. Boro fans, Leeds fans, Norwich fans, everybody out there. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Boro Fan TV. Until next week from us on the Monday Night Social here at the Longlands Club. Thanks again. Until next week, up the Boro from me and Joe.
Up the Boro.
Cheers, pal.
I've been sat looking through our fixtures.
Go on, mate.
Everyone's fixtures above us.
Yeah.
Nearly every one of them have got to play each other.